Well, if the goal for Brian De La Cruz was to have an impact, hey, mission accomplished by all concerned. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Padres 3, Pirates 0 last night in San Diego. The offense got 3 hits from Brian Reynolds, 6 singles from everybody else, and 15 strikeouts. That's a 1-5, kids, against 4 different Padres on the mound, no less. Doesn't matter who's out there. And yet still somehow De La Cruz looked worse than anyone else. One of his 2 strikeouts came on a pitch that was so far outside, it was arrested for illegally encroaching across the Tijuana border. But hey, at least he also committed yet another bobbling error in the outfield. That seems to be his preferred method for committing errors, which I guess would at least be somewhat tolerable if he could even somewhat hit. But he doesn't. 42 at-bats now, 7 hits, none of them for extra bases. He's walked once. He's struck out 17 times. He's batting .167 with a .186 on-base percentage. So this player, the only one Ben Cherington acquired with the specific aim of putting him into the everyday lineup and giving the Pirates a jolt, has done exactly that, just in the wrong direction. Put it another way, there can't be anyone in this time span since the trade deadline who's been worse in an everyday role anywhere in Major League Baseball. I'm not talking about in Pittsburgh. And what's more, unless you can think of something that I can't think of a worse trade arrival in my lifetime with the Pirates, meaning just got here, let's show them what you got. A little slump is one thing, but being outright horrible at everything and having that extend to 2 weeks while your team, not coincidentally, loses every single game that's played and completely collapsing out of the wild card playoff race. Yeah, I don't mean to pick on the guy. He's not going to be this bad forever. There's no way. He has something of a track record. He has 18 home runs this season, just not one of them while playing for Pittsburgh. But this is just another chalk mark, if you will, that's part of a really, really long list of how Cherington and his staff and his scouts and his analytics people simply cannot recognize hitting. They can't recognize it internally. They sure as heck can't recognize it externally. And that is, if there's going to be one fatal flaw that gets this front office cleared out, that gets Cherington fired, to be more to the point, it's going to be that. All you have to do is look up and down their prospect lists. All you have to do is look at Henry Davis being a 1-1 and the Padres getting Jackson Merrill 26 slots later. Now, I know people will defend that by saying, well, we all thought Davis was a good pick at the time. It's not our job. It's not our job. We're not the ones with access to mounds and mounds of information, so what we think about it at the time doesn't matter at all. What they think about it is all that matters. And this pattern is so deeply ingrained at this point that it almost doesn't matter who the player is or where they come from. It can be internationally, presuming anybody still takes the Pirates' international pipeline seriously, and I don't see why they should. If it comes from the draft, yes, it's nice that Nick Gonzalez has come along lately. Here's hoping that keeps up. But other than him, there's been nobody, and nobody even close. And right now, the AAA affiliate in Indianapolis, the AA affiliate in Altoona, have 0 hitting from a prospect standpoint. 0. Externally, sure, it's great that Joey Bart is another one. I give credit where it's due. See, I'm even throwing it in here. But 5 years gets you Joey Bart, gets you the Giants not being able to fully develop him or whatever, and that's it? That's all you got? 5 years and your best hitter is a Neil Huntington acquisition, meaning Reynolds, of course. 5 years and your best hitter on some nights is a Dave Littlefield acquisition, meaning Andrew McCutchen, of course. Why would any of us, myself very much included, be surprised that the one player they'd acquire to help the offense would come in and be actually worse than what you had? When we come back, J1Q.
This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern, that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Before we start with J1Q today, I just have to say, you guys are completely ridiculous. The best place to leave a J1Q entry is always on our app, on our site, DK Pittsburgh Sports. And really late last night, with more than a few of you watching the game along on our commenting community, Peter contributes the following. J1Q says, DK, do you think that quality players like Brian Reynolds know that they play for an organization that doesn't actually care about winning? And before I get to answering Peter, Sean, who must have some wonderful sense of humor to be able to make anybody laugh at that hour with that result, says, and our J1Q today comes from Peter, and it's a good one. Yes, he does, Peter. Thank you for your question, Peter. We will do another Daily Shot tomorrow. Touche, my brother. That's really, really well done. Peter, the answer does, in fact, echo Sean's forecast for it. Does Reynolds know, I'm going to get specific here, though, that the Pirates are an organization that doesn't actually care about winning? I don't know that he does. I've shared with you, going back to the time when everybody was talking about him getting his extension and then the whole trade demand and whatever else was thrown in by his agent, and I kept telling you Reynolds doesn't want to leave. Reynolds doesn't want to leave. Somebody else would report this or that, and I would just keep telling you Reynolds doesn't want to leave. Well, he doesn't. He likes it here. He's comfortable here. He enjoys being a Pirate. He enjoys life in Pittsburgh. And to what extent he's either unaware or unwilling to dig deeper to find out about the way this organization is run, or, and I'd never rule this out, whether or not the Ben Cherington process, and he runs a tight ship, can obfuscate that. It certainly does to a lot of people internally. I think it does to a large extent as it relates to Bob Nutting. I think Nutting sees all this structure and all this discipline and everything else that's going on, and he thinks, man, if only the players would execute, if only the players would play better, everything would be fine. Well, it's really not like that. I mean, yes, the players were the ones who went out there last night in San Diego and struck out 15 times. And yes, the players are the ones who have lost 9 games in a row. I realize that on this program, I'll focus more on management, whether it's in the front office or at field level, than I do on performance, although today was obviously an exception. I do think that it can be difficult sometimes from the inside to see what's happening on the inside. It's the whole forest for the trees thing. I believe that Reynolds has a good heart. He's an honest and obviously high-quality ball player, but I don't think that he spends a whole lot of time wondering about what Nutting or Travis Williams or Charrington are up to. He's just that. He's just a ball player. I appreciate the question. Hang on a second. How am I supposed to say this? And it's a good one. Thank you for the question, Peter. And we will do another Daily Shot tomorrow.